All right, here it is, my 1996 Honda XR650L. Done a ton of modifications to it. I guess it's taken me about probably 6 months to finish this thing, which I guess isn't fast or slow, but I'm just gonna go over some of the mods I did and show it off a little bit. I'm pretty proud of this machine, so I guess one of the first things I'm noticing up front is the Sherby's DHH headlight. This thing puts out some pretty good light, actually. I think the wattage on the bulbs is 35 a piece, if I'm not mistaken. So that's 70 watts with running them both full time is what I do. And the stock high beam was 65 watts. So it's pretty close. I don't think it puts a whole lot of strain on the charging system. I don't think so. This is an 1996 XR400 Front Fender. I picked that up. I thought it would look nice with the shape of the bike. I really like the way it turned out. These fork boots, these are actually Daystar new old stock fork boots I found off eBay. I found a set of hot pink ones also, but I like the way these teal ones looked a little better, so I went ahead and stayed with those. Also got the Super Brace fork brace up here. I wanted to stabilize that front end a little more, especially because I decided to go ahead and keep the stock forks. One of the reasons I did that was because I wanted to create a 1990s looking bike and keep it true to the time period. It's another reason I got this rad hub up here in the front, is so I could run the factory speedometer. Right now I've got about 530, 534, 535 I put on it since I finished it, so I've ridden it a little bit, and I mean, this thing's a ton of fun. But I put a steel braided Russell brake line on here. It's pretty nice. Rebuilt the master cylinder up top, steel braided Russell line. Rebuilt the caliper as well, new seals and pistons and everything like that. It works great. I got new rotors, new pads and everything, new EBC pads. Not sure where these rotors came from. They were off eBay. They're stainless steel set. I like the way they look, so I went ahead and got those. Up front I got the Excel rim Takasago wheels, 17-inch with Buchanan spokes and the rad hubs. I like these wheels a whole lot. I wanted to stick with silver. I thought that would give it a really classy look. So, all right. So I got the Arai pink, bubblegum pink, full waffle grips up here. These handlebars, these are actually a set of steel fly CR high bend bars, and the reason I got these is because they came white, and at this point I was tired of sandblasting and sanding and cleaning things to be painted and powder coated, so I just got this set right how they came, just like that, and I'm pretty happy with that bend. I've got a set of 30mm risers on here to get these bars out of my lap. I'm a pretty tall guy, so I enjoy that pretty well. I kept the stock controls as well. You know, nothing fancy. I wanted it to look pretty throwback, like I said. I think it did a good job of that. I just chopped the choke right here off of the clutch lever and perch, so I could keep a clean look going, even though I didn't paint it. I don't care. Got the full FMF exhaust on here. Power bomb header with the Q4 muffler. It sounds great. I mean, I really like the sound it gives to this bike. I think it's a great mod. Highly recommended. Also the FCR 41mm flat slide carburetor. This is actually the Sudco slant slide kit. I have not really heard great reviews about it. I really like it. I think the jetting that I chose was pretty close to spot on. I'm using an NCVT needle, and it seems to do a pretty good job. I think the main that I'm running right now is the 158, and the Pilot, I believe, is a 52. It seems to run really well, though. No hesitation, no burbles. I mean, it's got great response, great power. That's another mod that I can't tell you how much it made a difference in this bike. It's incredible. So internally, engine-wise, I put a 25 thousandths over piston, so just one size over piston, OEM piston, OEM rings. The cylinder head itself got a valve job, but I put brand new OEM valves OEM inner and outer springs, keepers, and all that good stuff. So basically it's got a brand new OEM top end. Otherwise, internally, I added the Kickstarter. This covers off a 1996 XR600, so it doesn't have the decompression. You know, here is a little bit cleaner. But yeah, I added the kickstart and also the second gear off of the NX650 and the fifth gear off the FMX650. And again, that fifth gear, those mods right there are incredible to this bike. I mean, it's a totally different machine with this exhaust, the carburetor, the battery relocation, I'll go over that in a minute, and the transmission swap. It's just night and day. I mean, I can't believe the difference. You can still definitely tell it's an XR650, but it's really a snappy bike now. It feels awesome. So tank, I decided to go ahead and keep the stock tank. All the aftermarket tanks were really good, but they were just a little bit large for my taste. I would have really liked to go with something plastic and a little bit lighter, but I didn't want a bulky, oversized off-road tank. So I went ahead and painted up a stock tank again, and had my brother paint it white. And my sister actually designed these graphics for me. I'm really proud of her. She did a wonderful job. This is mimicking the stock graphic. She had to actually cut different layers for each different piece and redesign and place it back together, and obviously I changed the colors in the graphic. I'm really happy with the way it turned out, and thanks to Sign Art Graphics. They're the ones who actually printed these graphics for me. They did an amazing job. They're very helpful through the process, and they're absolutely very sticky. Very sticky graphics, so I'm very happy with those. Got the GS Mark oil cooler up front here. That's another thing I can't tell you enough how incredible of a difference it makes. Now granted, I live here in the mountains in western North Carolina, and temperatures average around 80 degrees during this time of year. So I'm saying that I don't see temperatures over 250 on my bike ever since I've ridden it 500 miles, and I've put it through some pretty rigorous conditions so far to test it out and make sure everything's, you know, good and seated and everything's broken in. So this does an incredible job of cooling the bike. I'm really impressed with that, and it's well worth the money. I would absolutely recommend it to anyone who wants to upgrade their bike and keep it a little cooler. You know, there's another shot, the other side of the FCR. It fits in there absolutely beautifully, and to get it in and out, it's actually, I would dare say, it's almost easier than stock to get in and out. It comes right out of there, no problem. So jetting's a breeze on that thing. Well, that's a bold statement, but getting it in and out of the bike's pretty easy. Another thing you'll notice on here, I've got the Msr Folding Shifter. I thought that looked nice. The stock one was a little bit wonky and kind of whooped out, so I wanted to get something new. New OEM pins and springs for the foot pegs, but I did go ahead and get the IMS Pro Series pegs. Got a new OEM kickstand. All the linkage under there was you know, cleaned out and greased, and everything's spotless, absolutely brand new. That rear shock in there, I'll go over the suspension now. I sent it off to FTI, Full Travel Innovations, here in Taylorsville, North Carolina, and they did a great job. I had custom springs cut for the front and rear for my weight. The rear shock was revalved, and the front did not get any valving emulators or anything like that. It was just resprung for the front end. But I did get the super brace, and I've noticed an amazing difference in the spring rate when I got on the bike. I mean, it definitely feels much stiffer than a stock motorcycle. Another cool thing here I've got is the this polyurethane chain slider. I just found that off eBay from a random seller. I don't know how he's making them or whatnot, but it's pink and I had to have it. It matched my bike. I'm running 1448 gearing. I will say, when I first put this bike together, I originally had put the 15 front XR650R sprocket, that wider sprocket on there backwards, and I wasn't too impressed with the rideability of the bike. I know stock's 1545, so I guess that just tells you I'm pretty used to riding dirt bikes. So the 1448 felt much better for me, and I still fifth gear on this bike. I tapped out the speedometer the other day just to see how far it would go, and you know, that it wasn't actual speed, but I would guess I can at least run 90 miles an hour with this 5th gear, and 70 is just over idle. I mean, it's really just humming down the road, even with the 17s. So with that 2nd and 5th gear mod and 1448 gearing, this thing's absolutely fun to ride up the road. So I'm very happy with that. Another modification you'll notice is that I have an XR600R side cover here. I removed the battery box and did the show ride battery relocation underneath the seat. That's another really great mod. I think it really slims up the back of the bike and narrows it down, gives it less of a wide, meaty look, which is good. Especially when you're trying to trim down these things and make them a little bit lighter and more usable. But yeah, everything fits great. That's not really a difficult mod. I was a little bit weary about doing it at first, about how I was going to reroute the wiring and make it look nice, but everything tucks away neatly and it fits just perfectly, so it's no trouble at all. On the back wheel here, also running Buchanan spokes, the rad Cush hub back here, and Excel Takasago rims, running the Continental Attack Supermoto tires. Those done pretty good. I'm not really wild about the tread design, but I'll pick something out later. Along with that exhaust, I found this neat FMF sticker I went ahead and stuck on there from eBay too. I didn't like that stock red and yellow sticker. It was kind of throwing off my color scheme. So, but anyway, I also, to mount this rear fender, this is a 1996 CR250 rear fender, and to mount that, it's kind of funny, I used a old stop sign here and cut out these brackets, and also I made this this piece out of a galvanized piece of steel and bolted it to the old frame, and it was actually really wobbly and didn't hold up very well. So what I needed to do, I had a friend, I cut a piece of roll cage tubing in half and had them weld it onto the little galvanized subframe that I made, and now it's extremely sturdy. I mean, so I've actually even put a little piece of old piece of rubber under there to keep it from pushing up too hard against the fender. But I mounted a little cat eye tail light right here, so I think it looks pretty neat. I think the shape of the bike looks awesome with that. The seat cover I got from a guy off eBay as well. The stock was purple and red, and I wanted to do the teal, give it that sea foam color, that really 90s look. And I also, one of the big stipulations to this is I wanted to keep the 650L on the seat. I'm pretty proud this bike's an XR650L. I mean, yeah, it's bigger, it's fat, it's overweight, underpowered, if you want to call it that, but it's perfect for what I wanted to use it for, and the machine fits me just great, and it fits my riding style. So and I'm happy with the modifications that I've done, so I want to let people know that it's definitely an XR650L. So for the guys that know, I'm sure it'll make them turn their head twice and be like, that can't be. You know, so other than that, that's pretty much all the mods. I mean, the rear brakes are just the same as the front, steel braided Russell lines, rebuilt master cylinder and caliper, new EBC pads, the rotors, like I said, new stainless steel rotors. I'm sure I've left a few things out on this bike. I got the UFO plastic XR600 frame covers. I thought that was a little cheesy. I wanted to keep, like I said, keep that 90s theme, and I thought that went right with it, so add to the look of the bike. But I'm really happy with the way it came out, the shape of the motorcycle, the way it's designed, the way it looks, the way it rides. It's awesome. Go ahead and crank it up for you here just a second.